Today we're going to talk about why this Four Seasons 74774 heater control valve is not correct for a 91 Jeep Comanche. Stay tuned. All right, as you can see in this 1991 Jeep Comanche that I'm working on, I have removed the air box. I am in the process of basically redoing this entire interior. And so here is my evaporator core right here and the heater core there. And the box has been completely redone. I've got the new heater core in here. The evaporator is right here. And I have verified that all of my vacuum actuators are working with this Maddox vacuum pump. No need to even go over that right now. No need to even discuss this air box, as there's many videos online about that. But what I want to tell you about today is this Four Seasons heater valve. Now, a lot of people on Jeep Comanches or Jeep XJs, for what have you, they just bypass this valve. And the reason I didn't want to bypass the valve is that I want the least, I live in the South, and the least amount of heat under the dash as possible. So it looks like the original owner bypassed, as you can see, on like 97 and up Jeep XJs and 4 liters. It goes right in. There is no bypass. But their air box is different, and I don't want to take a chance on bypassing that thing down here when I have the air conditioner going and extra heat. So I purchased this item here. Is vacuum actuated, and what a heater control valve does is it actually, with vacuum, it shuts off the water flow. Now, the problem with this is that this only has 1, 2, 3 inlets or outlets, 3 places to connect hoses, but this system requires 4. So let me tell you why. I'm going to put this back in and send this back to Rock Auto. So all the way up through about 1990 on Jeep XJs and MJ, which is the Comanche pickup that I'm working on here, they had a Renix, I think it's called, cooling and ignition system. So it was a little bit different than a closed. On that system, it had a big coolant bottle right here, and this is the coolant bottle on the newer version. And it required this unit for a 91 because it's all kind of complicated crap that goes into the air box for the heater core. But in 91 they switched, and they switched to the closed system, and the heater valve needs 4 inlets because you've got 2 going in and 2 going out. Every auto parts store has it incorrect. O'Reilly, AutoZone, and Advanced all show this for a 91 Comanche. But if you look up a 91 Jeep XJ, which these units are the same from the cab forward, it shows the correct one. So for some reason, they got the Comanche wrong on this. This is also wrong and incorrect on the Four Seasons website. So I imagine those auto parts stores got this information from the Four Seasons website, which is totally incorrect. So we're just going to box this back up and send this back to Rock Auto. But I'm about to show you what the correct one looks like. Okay, so I returned the incorrect one, and I ordered one for an XJ. So the parts stores and Rock Auto and everybody has these wrong, I believe, because if you look for a Comanche, it shows you that one that I got, that I ordered, that is not correct. If you look for an XJ, now remember, an XJ, basically from here forward, is the exact same vehicle as an MJ Comanche. But for some reason, everything's the same as an XJ in the parts list except for this device here. So I ordered a Four Seasons one, and I got sent this Parts Master from Rock Auto. But even if you go to your local auto parts store and what have you, it's pretty much the same part. So this seems to be the correct unit that originally came on these Comanches. So as you can see from this one, this actually has 4 inlet and outlets, whereas that one I got earlier only has 3. And of course, there's your little vacuum canister that shuts this one off here. So let me figure out which way this goes. It should mount somewhere right here. So this MJ, when I got it just like this. It did not have a heater valve in it. I put the new heater core in it, new evaporator, as you see, and I just reconnected it how it was. But as you can see, I'm doing a full dash rebuild on this unit. I've got the heater box back in, evaporator core and heater core there. Figured out the issues with all of my vacuum lines, got that repaired. The vacuum lines I've got coming, these were the ones that were messed up here. I've got a long one here. I will cut it, that goes to the box in there. And this other one right here is going to go to the heater valve. Now, the newer XJs do not have that, and I think the reason why is the heater box has been redesigned, so even if it's constantly flowing, it's really not heating up the cab. But from what I've read, these MJs or older XJs, if the heater core, you don't really need it, obviously, but if you let it constantly circulate, the flap is not actually good enough, and in the summer, and I live down in the south, in the summer, it will heat the cab up unnecessarily. So I want to prevent any heat from going in this cab, and so I decided to do some research and purchase this heater control valve and add it back in as it was from the factory. So if you take a look at that diagram, you will see that this is the inlet here. So the top one coming off the thermostat housing is going to go into there somehow like that. There are 2 types of tubes. These are the original, which I do prefer to keep these, the original heater hose clamps. I do not like the worm screw clamps that are like this, but these are 2 type of tools you can use to remove these hose clamps. This is one from Craftsman here. Works pretty good. Got that at Lowe's. And the other one, which is real handy, is this one here that allows you to get really deep because it is cable operated. Either one will work. And the way that these tools work, you have one cup that goes over one and then one that's slotted that the other end goes in, and they're all ratcheting. So when you squeeze it, well, this one, it's supposed to stay shut. Let's see here. There we go. Well, anyway, so the idea is that they'll ratchet shut, and then you hit this lever here to open it back up. This one doesn't seem to be working very well, but you get the drift, and you really can do it without it. So do the clamp, and then you should be able to wiggle this up out of the way like that. And if this ratchet worked correctly, I'd hit the button and it would open back up. The cable works very similar. Basically, the ends will clamp on each side like this, and that's what it looks like clamped. And when I squeeze this, it will ratchet, and as you see, it will squeeze that like that. And it comes in handy because this ratchet works, and then I can move this around. Just hit this button and you can remove it. This is made by OEM Tools. I think I got that at AutoZone. And to keep these heater hoses from leaking coolant all over me, put these little handy clamps on that. Those are made specifically for that. These are Craftsman model. You can get them at Lowe's. Okay, based on the diagram, the first connection I made was the heater hose that comes from the thermostat housing is going to go into the top piece here on the valve. All right, the next step is the bottom hose on here. This is a configuration, is going to go to the top of the heater core. Bottom hose on that, top of the heater core. Now, there is another pipe here, that a hard pipe that hooks onto the water pump. And this is it here. This is the other heater hose. So this heater hose goes from the water pump to the other inlet on this side right here. So now I've got 3 of the 4 hooked up, and the only other one is this one right here, which is the bottom of the heater core. If you look at the diagram again, it is going to go to this one right here. Okay, so I've got it connected. I did not tighten up any of the, haven't moved these into their final spot because I want to be able to move this. This thing falls right on the dipstick. I don't like that, but we'll deal with that in a second. So the coolant flow is out of the thermostat water housing into the top of the heater control valve, and then out of the heater control valve into the heater core. Then it goes out of the heater core from the top back into the bottom of the heater control valve here, and then up through this into the water pump, which to me seems backwards, but that's what the diagram shows. So we're going to hook it up like that and see what happens. You have a later model XJ, like maybe a 97 and above, or 98 and above, I'm not sure which, but a later model, or you just want to delete this heater control valve, I'll put a picture right here that will show you the coolant flow through your heater core and the proper way to hook up your heater hoses if you delete that, or if you have a XJ or an MJ Comanche like this without that heater core. So take a look at this picture. Okay, so you should have a little device like this that slips over one of the valve cover bolts. It kind of keeps the heater hoses in the proper configuration, but a problem I'm already seeing on this is that this heater valve, this valve right here part that's going to be sucked in, is hitting the dipstick. So that is not going to work in its current configuration. It's almost like this thing needs to be twisted like this, and that's why I say don't tighten these up. It's like we need to twist this way up like this. So let me see what I can figure out. Okay, through much trial and error, I think I figured it out. So, as you see now, I've got everything hooked up. The vacuum line is here on top. The top hose coming from the heater core is long and twisted because it's made to go around this, this dipstick. And the other hose that goes to the heater core, this one had been cut. I can tell it had been cut based on this, and it was too short, so it was pushing this unit all the way over here. So I had an extra piece of 5/8 heater hose. You can use the 5/8 heater hose for the bottom one because it is 5/8 to 5/8. You cannot use regular 5/8 heater hose, even though it says it right here on the top one, because the top unit has two different sizes. But anyway, so I just took a piece of regular 5/8 heater hose, cut it to fit, and this one I left, and it moved it, it just circled around this dipstick. The dipstick is no longer interfering with the little vacuum valve there. My vacuum line is free. So we are going to crank it up and see if this thing holds pressure. Okay, I've got this thing up to operating temperature, and the heater valve is not leaking any. So, but let me show you kind of how this works. So I've got the heater on right now, and this little valve is out. It's put all the way down. Now, if I go in here and I turn the heater off, or the whole unit off, like here, okay, and I come back out here, the vacuum has pulled it up. So what's happening is when you turn the unit off, it stops the flow of coolant into the heater valve. And some would argue that's really no big deal, but I want it as cool as possible in there, so I'm gonna go with this. So as you can see, I've got a good way to go on this Comanche, but I wanted to show y'all the differences between the heater valves on XJs and Comanches. So this is the way I decided to go. So hopefully these instructions and diagrams and information helped y'all out. So y'all have a great weekend. I'll also leave this part number and where to get it in the description below. So y'all have a great weekend.